So the motivation behind this work was that cities around the globe are currently warming due to the local impacts of climate change and due to urbanization. And so what we wanted to know was what is sort of the maximum potential for using cool roofs in cities to cool down the climate. And one thing that's really important to know to understand the maximum potential of cool roofs is to know what is the current state of rooftops in cities in California, which was our region of focus. So what is the current albedo of rooftops in cities, which is the fraction of sunlight that's reflected relative to the amount that's incoming. And so that tells you something about how much heat is absorbed on that rooftop. So the cities that were most of interest for us were the largest and hottest cities in California. So we looked at Sacramento, San Diego, Los Angeles, Long Beach, San Jose, and San Francisco. I think that's all of them. And what we did is, because we needed to know something at the city scale, we used remotely sensed data acquired from airplanes. And we found that the average albedo of these roofs was quite low. It was ranged from 0.17, I think, to 0.20. And so that means that over 80% of sunlight that's incoming is absorbed by those roofs and transferred into the buildings underneath the roofs and transferred into the atmosphere above. And so we know that current technology has much higher roof albedos for cool roofs. And so that means that there's a lot of room for increasing roof albedo. Most of the regulations focus on commercial buildings where the roofs are flat and so we can't see them from ground level. And they require that roofs have quite high albedo, and so they're quite reflective. The roof albedo requirements for pitched roofs, these are ones that we can see from the surface, are a little bit more lax from an albedo point of view, because a lot of folks don't want to be able to see a bunch of very white roofs from the ground level. And they vary depending on climate zone in California, so they're not required everywhere. And so I think the outcome of our research really suggested that if you want to increase albedo from using rooftops at the city scale, you need to include residential homes, because residential homes make up the vast majority of roof area, and they in general have very low albedo. Current requirements are a little more lax for residential homes. Recent new regulations in Los Angeles require that cool roofs be used on residential homes, and the state-level regulation, Title 24, has recently updated the regulation so that it is required in more climate zones. But I think the requirements on commercial buildings are actually pretty stringent at this point, and so maybe the focus for the future should be residential homes in cities, either in California or across the U.S. if their use is appropriate for the climate.